Okay, this video is for the grammar assignment called the infinitive and the infinitive phrase. And the infinitive, it functions in our writing to vary sentence structure and to vary sentence beginnings. Since we've been studying verbals, you'll be familiar with this. An infinitive is a verbal. So previously, we've studied the participle, which is a verb used as an adjective, a gerund, which is a verb used as a noun. In this case, the infinitive is a verb that is used as a noun or a modifier. So it can be used as an adjective or an adverb. Uh, Infinitives are easy to identify because they are preceded by the word to and then a verb. So to go, that would be the infinitive of go. To speak, the infinitive of speak. To believe, or to be. They're all infinitives. So an infinitive is generally used as a noun, but it may, as I said, be used as an adjective or an adverb. And you remember last week that we were looking at phrases that function as a whole part of speech, and these phrases function the same way. So if I said, to wait for the bus is tiresome, the infinitive would be to wait, to plus a verb, wait. And then the whole phrase that goes along with that, to wait for the bus. So this whole thing is tiresome. So in this case, the infinitive phrase is functioning as the subject of the sentence because it's who or what the sentence is about. That sentence is about waiting for the bus. And you could also have a infinitive phrase, or in this case, just the infinitive alone, functioning as the direct object. Now remember, the direct object, it's usually paired with an active verb, and it answers the question what. So when you put the subject and the verb together and you ask the question what, that'll help you find the direct object. So if I said everyone wanted to go, everyone would be the subject, wanted would be the verb, and to go would be the direct object because it answers the question what. Everyone wanted what? They wanted to go. So that is an infinitive functioning as a direct object. And the last example here, a infinitive functioning as a predicate nominative. Remember, a predicate nominative is always paired with a to be verb. And the predicate nominative always comes in the predicate part of the sentence, so it's after the verb. So if I said her ambition is to fly, the infinitive to fly is renaming what the subject of the sentence is, which in this case is her ambition. So her ambition is the subject, is the to be verb, and then to fly, the infinitive functioning as the predicate nominative. Let's go back to this first example up here. If you notice, we do have a to be verb here, and in this case, to wait for the bus is functioning as the subject of the sentence. So that means tiresome is functioning as the predicate nominative in this sentence because those two things, to wait for the bus and tiresome, are one and the same. So that's the predicate nominative here. So in that case, so if you notice, if it comes before the to be verb, it's the subject. If it comes after the to be verb, it's the predicate nominative because it's renaming the subject. All right, here's an example. The next one is the infinitive used as an adjective. An adjective describes a noun. So if I said we lacked the strength to resist, here we have the infinitive to plus the verb resist, and it's modifying the noun strength. It could also an infinitive could also function as an adverb. Adverbs modify other verbs. They also can qualify other adjectives and adverbs. So if I said we study to learn, in this case, this infinitive is modifying the verb study, and it's functioning as the adverb here. So notice that the study is an action verb. So you might think that what's coming after the action verb is the direct object, but in this case, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't answer the question what, right? It's mainly if you say we study what, you would think of it as a thing or something, In this case, it's not, so it doesn't really fit that pattern. It's just modifying, giving more information about what we study. We study to learn. One thing that you should be careful about when you're trying to identify these things. Remember that infinitives are always paired with a verb, to plus a verb. If a noun comes after the word to, then it's probably a prepositional phrase because remember that to can function also as a preposition, so connecting one part of the sentence to the other. I think it's pretty easy if you just look at the word to, and then if you look at what comes after it, if it's a verb, it's an infinitive. If it's not, then it's not. So talking about an infinitive phrase, remember we've been studying phrases over the last couple weeks, and phrases are defined as a group of words that don't contain a subject or a verb. So they can't stand alone, and if they did contain a subject or a verb, they would be a clause. We're gonna study clauses later. So an infinitive phrase a phrase consists of an infinitive and then any of its modifiers or complements that go along with it. So in this sentence down here, to leave is the infinitive, and early is an adverb that's modifying the infinitive. So if I said we intend to leave early would be the whole phrase. To leave would be the infinitive. So early is an adverb modifying the infinitive to leave. In this next example, I have a paper to write before class. To write is the infinitive because it's to plus a verb. To write before class is the infinitive phrase, that whole thing is modifying paper. And the next example, no one wants to help us. To help is the infinitive. Us is an object that's complementing us. That's complementing help. So to help us is the whole phrase there. Those are infinitive phrases. So like infinitives alone, infinitive phrases can be used as nouns or modifiers. So if I said something like, we tried to reason with her, the infinitive phrase to reason with her is functioning in this sentence as the direct object. We tried what? We tried to reason with her. It can function as the subject of the sentence. To save money became her obsession. Remember, the subject is who or what the sentence is about. And this sentence is about saving money, right? So to save money is the subject. You can have an infinitive phrase functioning as an adjective, and usually adjective answer the question which way, right? So in this sentence, there must be a way to solve this problem. So if I said there must be a way, which way to solve the problem? In the next example here, we're having and we have an infinitive phrase functioning as an adverb, which answers the question to what extent or why. Usually adverbs answer those questions. So if I said, I am too busy to go to the movie tonight. So notice we have a kind of a prepositional phrase added on to an infinitive phrase to make that whole thing there. So if I said, I am too busy, to what extent am I too busy? I'm too busy to go to the movies. That's how busy I am. So that would be an adverb. And then finally, we have an infinitive phrase functioning as a predicate nominative. His plan is to go to college for 2 years. So remember, predicate nominatives rename the subject of the sentence, which is a noun. So his plan and going to college for 2 years are one and the same, so it's predicate nominative. And you can identify predicate nominatives by first looking for the verb to be, for the to be verb, which in this case is. One of the main reasons we study infinitives is to avoid this common grammar mistake, which is called the split infinitive. You don't want to put words in between the two parts of the infinitive, the to plus the verb. You don't want to put words in between there. If you do, then you're splitting the infinitive. So if I said something like, I need to definitely see that movie, I'm putting the word definitely in between the infinitive, two parts of the infinitive, to and see. I shouldn't split that up. I should say something like, I definitely need to see that movie. Now, we hear split infinitives oftentimes in our everyday language and our everyday speech. But remember, we're talking about how to make our writing better. So just because you say it one way and we understand what you mean in everyday conversation, that doesn't mean you should do it in your writing, in formal writing. So you definitely want to, you definitely want to avoid splitting the infinitive. So what do you have to do in your assignment today? So there's only 10 of them, so we're cutting it down. All you got to do is you're bolding the infinitive, so to plus the verb there. And then you are highlighting the infinitive phrase. So in this first example, to read I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings is the whole phrase. So that's a book by, whoops, we're supposed to highlight that. That's a book by Maya Angelou. Let me do this. So we're going to bold the infinitive. We're going to highlight the infinitive phrase and do the highlighting up here. Highlight. And then we got to figure out what part of speech this is. So first of all, I'm noticing that we have a to be verb here, right? So I know that that's probably going to be a predicate nominative over here because it's renaming what my assignment is. My assignment was to read I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. So that's functioning as a predicate nominative. Let's do another one. In the story of her life, Maya Angelou tries to present a true picture of her childhood. So to present is to plus a verb, so that's the infinitive. To present a true picture of her childhood is the whole phrase there. And now we got to figure out what part of speech this is. And I'm noticing I have an action verb there. So that right away it's going to stand out that probably what comes after that action verb is going to be the direct object answering the question what. Maya Angelou tries what? She tries to present a true picture of her childhood. So that one is the direct object. By the way, we usually don't have indirect objects. Infinitives usually don't function have direct objects. At least I've never seen one. So you're not going to have any examples of that in this exercise. Just subject, predicate nominative, direct object, adjectives or adverbs. And so remember, adjectives, they modify nouns. Adverbs, they usually modify verbs or other adjectives or adverbs. So you're looking for what's next to it. So you're going to do the rest of those. And then we have a writing application. You're going to take this infinitive phrase here, to understand biology. You're going to make it the subject of the sentence. Remember what the sentence is about. It's about to understand biology. So something like, to understand biology is my main goal. You're going to make that phrase the direct object. Then you're going to make it the predicate nominative. You're going to make it an adjective and then an adverb. And that's it. So that's our grammar assignment for this week. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or come in to see me during Pride. I'd be happy to answer them.